कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि sampashyan kartumharasi, says Sri Krishna. Why do people work in this world? Why the noble ones work in this world? And how do they attain the fulfillment through work? They work like this, it is said. The purpose of their work is loka sangraha, the welfare of all. They don't work for their own welfare, not even with the eye on the results of the action, not even the desire for some sense of fulfillment or realization. They just simply do what needs to be done for the welfare of all. Loka sangraha mevapi. Keeping an eye on that. Sampashyan kartumarhasi. The only reason they work is let it be of use to others, let it be of benefit to others, let it be for the welfare of all. And Sri Krishna explains it's important to do like that because yad yadacharati shreshtaha tatta devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. Because if the noble person conduct themselves in good way, the whole of the society follows them simply. The ordinary take inspiration and follow them. So that's all is the principle of action in this world. Nobody can escape action because this world is karma bhumi and everybody must engage in some action or the other. Even if you open and close your eyes, Ashtavakra says that is also action because there is ahankara bhava. So action is automatically happening because of you. But still the noble ones undertake action like the Janaka and the likes of the Janaka because it leads to the welfare of all. How simple is the philosophy? Why should you act in the world? For the benefit of all. What about your personal benefit? That's included in the welfare of all. When you say all, you are a part of that collective all. So you will anyway benefit from that. How simple is the idea of karma yoga? Karmanyavadikarasti is what everybody quotes. But then while doing that, what does they say? Mahabaleshu kadachana. Be careful not to remember that you want some results of this action. Whereas this shloka says, Loka sangraha mevapi. Just for the welfare of all, let your work happen. And they ask me, why do you have to work? Can you not relax a bit? Then I say, if Sri Krishna does not relax and stop, how can I? And he says very beautifully, if I do not perform the action as I am destined to, jatu karmanyatandritaha, all the actions that are prescribed to me, jatu karmani, I am born to do this, I must do this. That is my swadharma. If I don't do that, what happens? He says, all the people will follow my bad example. Mam vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. All the people will follow my bad example. So I don't want to be a bad example for others. By one, not doing anything even when I am supposed to do, and doing anything other than what I am supposed to do. Both are bad actions. Some people simply don't want to engage in the world, saying, why should we get stuck? Our actions will bind us and that will lead to consequences and then another rebirth and the life goes on. But that is a wrong idea again because that action which is done for your own sake binds you. That action which is selfless liberates you. Like the key, if it's turned towards the right, it opens the lock and turns toward the left, closes the lock. Likewise, the same action can be binding or liberating, depends on you, not on the action. The action by itself has no real reasons to bind or liberate you. Action is an action after all. It's a neutral thing. How do you do with what attitude? Either binds you or liberates. So the idea of action in this world is supreme. Nobody can escape that. But the actions that are done for loka sangraha, for the sake of setting an example, for the sake of the welfare of all, liberate you. All other actions which are for your own personal welfare, gain, selfish sake, self-centered, binds you. And that is why people still act in this world, like Janaka, Jivan Mukta acts in this world, Sri Krishna acts in this world, the great saints and sages and great rishis act in this world, the avatar purushas act in this world because they are here to do good to others. As simple as that. So before you do any action, ask yourself, whatever action I am undertaking or I am planning to undertake, for what purpose is that? To what end is this action? And if the answer is for the welfare of all, please by all means go ahead and do it. But in the welfare of all, don't think my welfare also should be looked after because welfare of... No, that will be looked after, that's given. Only if we do like that, it liberates you. If you do not do that, what is going to happen? The world will fall into anarchy, confusion, pandemonium, because nobody is giving the world any inspiration. There are no examples to follow. So some people have to be exemplary at the cost of their conveniences, comforts, likes, preferences. They still have to do what is exemplary for the sake of others. A while ago, I met a couple of Indian NRIs from various parts of the world. They had come. They are part of this Indiaspora group. And some of them visited here. And one of the persons said, I think at the cost of repetition, I must say that we are inspired. We are taking the inspiration back with us. And I thought, I have done my job. If people get inspired, that is what I am supposed to do. If they look at all this and they get inspired to do good in their lives, yad yadacharati shreshtaha tatateve tarojana. That is what is happening. The others are following. How beautiful is this idea of inspiration, I said, because all other gifts will diminish with time. But inspiration only grows with time. So inspire others. They will take this inspiration back with them to their hometowns, their countries, their places, and practice it. And when they practice, this inspiration grows. How somebody else sees them and gets inspired. And somebody else sees them and gets inspired. This way the inspiration spreads. So that is what is the greatest gift the great ones give to the society, an example and inspiration through their own practice, through their own example. That is what changes the world. Otherwise, there is no way to change this world. This world has been a very stubborn place and nobody changes. We all go back to our old ways. Old habits die hard. The only people who make a difference and at least attempt to change the world and succeed to some extent are those who lead by example, by their personal example. That is what changes the world and that is what we are trying to do. If a few more people get inspired, well and good. We have attained the fulfillment of this action which has been directed towards the welfare of all. And in this action, there is liberation. Karmainaiva hi sansiddhim. They achieve the ultimate through action only. It doesn't bind them at all. Having seen some of the children perform in the national level competitions and having attained it, in terms of achieving some prizes, it's truly a proud moment. Music, both Nada and Veda, both are very close to me. Seems like only they are getting prizes in our institutions, nobody else. The Vedas get the best education section and the Nada gets the prizes in national level. I don't know what is happening to the others. Because I told Veda and Nada are my departments, all others are departments of their respective HODs. So this is the difference. What prizes are you getting in your respective departments? So I am very happy because as a university stand for this unique proposition that we are a university based on Bharatiya Samskruti, on Adhyatma, on Vedic traditions, on knowledge of Sanskrit, on whatever other cultural, whether dance or music or other arts. This is what Bharatiyata is and that is what we should stand for. So if we don't get prizes in science and technology and English and Kannada, it's fine because there are other universities who are doing only that. But we stand for these very unique two ideas of Vedic studies and performing arts, which both are directed towards Indian cultural ethos. And if you are getting prizes in that, that means what we stand for, that is being proven and the world is acknowledging. So a lot of blessings to the students and staff of both the departments for excelling in their respective fields. The GLA book, the Global Leadership Award, was very beautifully conceptualized. Again, Yadyada Charati Shreshtaha. Take the best examples and present them to the world because world needs inspiration. World needs examples. And when this idea was mooted during the 100th birthday festival and a team came forward led by Gauri Shankar that why don't we do an award ceremony where we recognize the best of the business leaders. And that sounded antithetic to a service spiritual organization. Why should we celebrate business leaders or policy makers or leaders from the workaday world? Why should we not call saints and sages and rishis and munis and award them? It looked a little actually opposite to the idea of a spiritual organization. But then the idea is that artha or dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Artha is not antithetic to spiritual growth. Artha can be a means of your growth because through artha or wealth, you can support the society. And that is why these people have to be celebrated, because they have created wealth for the society through righteous means, through dharma. Dharma is the foundation, artha has been earned. And that is how they also will go to moksha. Why? Karmanaiva hi sansiddhim. They also will attain perfection because they are doing right action. So why don't we put them on the stage? And some of the best minds of the world, not just India, came here. The CEOs and presidents and founders of great organizations, both public as well as private, international as well as national, who have made a huge difference. They have employed hundreds of thousands of people, created jobs for them, made their families prosper, made their children go to colleges, helped them access the basic amenities of life through their enterprising nature. And they have done it all well, very compliant, very legal, very ethical. And that's another example that we must follow. So this came out, and the beautiful book that has come, I have to be grateful to Sunil Gavaskar ji, Ashish Chauhan ji, Balasubramaniam, and so many more, a plethora of people, the great business tycoons of the country who have lent their time, energy, ideas and dedication to bring out this award, and all of them are there in the book. And the beauty of this book is that you must all get a copy, because every single leader, when they asked me, this business today people, how do you want to capture their life's journey and their ideals? So when I met each of them, I told, please tell the core principle of your leadership, the main thought behind your all ideas and works. One, that single core idea, because we can write any amount of wisdom about leadership, and each of them is a stalwart. So they picked up, and I told business today, please pick up one shloka or one phrase from Sanskritam somewhere in our some scripture, and make that as the title of that article on that one particular leader. Like, see, here is a leadership story of Mr. Ram Dorai, who was the ex-CEO of Tata Consultancy Services, right? He is the one, he is also on our board. And Mr. Ram Dorai, who was the former Vice Chairman, MD and CEO Tata Consultancy Services, and presently is the Chairperson of Mission Karma Yogi Bharat. So I said about his life, when he is talking about his story of his leadership, get one shloka, one phrase in Sanskritam, so that that becomes the way we present leadership. Gone are the days of borrowing Western ideas of leadership from business studies, case studies from those business schools of the Ivy League colleges. Let us bring our own leadership ideas to fore. And this is what it is. So his idea, in his story it's written, Buddhi yukto jahatiha, ubhe sukrata dushrute, tasmad yogaya ujjasva, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Our university's motto, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, guides the life's journey of Mr. Ram Dorai. So like that, for each of these business tycoons, there is one shloka or one subhashita or some Sanskrit phrase from some Smriti or Purana, which is the guiding message. That is how this is the first time business today people must have done this much of research in Sanskrit. But the good part is that we are bringing the Indian thought of leadership borrowed from our own scriptures, from Bhagavad Gita, from Puranas, from our Smritis, from Shruti. And that is what is this book about. This is different from other leadership editions of business magazines. So please get a copy for yourself, read and get inspired. And hopefully some of you who will turn out to be good, great leaders in the future would be inspired by some idea from this book somewhere. That is my hope. So I also want to congratulate this entire team of Global Leadership Award. They have worked very, very hard to reach out to so many people. So many of them flew in here, received the award. Some received at their place because they were too old to travel or they were too busy to travel. And this whole team has done a wonderful job. So a lot of blessings and congratulations to Global Leadership Award team. Similarly, while we are Satya Sanatan, we are also Nitya Nutan. The Indian land is such, it's ancient and modern at the same time. That is the beauty of India's culture. We always reinvent ourselves, we rediscover ourselves every day. We are ever new, yet the most ancient civilization. And the beauty of that is, while you talk about great ancient scriptural ideas for leadership or Nada Veda as our unique university's proposition, we also talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models and co-pilots for doctors. That also we talk in the same breath, because there is no conflict there. There is no contradiction. Both exist together in our culture. That's why we always grew, we always were learning, we are always teaching. We were lifelong learners. That is how our sages were. So this idea of also developing artificial intelligence system for the hospital, which is, as I said, growing like Virata Swarupa, it is growing like Drivikrama. Every day more and more is happening, and it's humanly impossible to manage the entire system, the data, the processing of it, the analytics, just impossible to do it humanly. So that's where the new systems, new technology come into existence, and that's a great opportunity for some of our students to work on these live projects in artificial intelligence, machine learning in the field of healthcare. I was talking to an expert just this morning, an old friend, is into all these entrepreneurship and artificial intelligence. I told him he is doing some fintech and other things. I said, why are you not doing medical related artificial intelligence? He said, Swamiji, it's very resource intensive and very expensive to do medical technologies because it requires a hospital, then clinical data, patients, and then all the other facilities, doctors. So it's not easy to do. I said, you know what, we are just doing that. How come we always end up doing the most difficult thing? I don't know. But that is our fate, that is our destiny. And I said, because we have hospital, we have clinics across the country, we have so many thousands of patients and doctors. So it's imperative for us to invest in some technology like this. He said, you can do it, but for us, just being a normal AI company, it's very difficult for us to invest this much of money in things like that. So they are doing something else, he said. So then I realized that, oh, this is a difficult job to do. But luckily we have the ecosystem which can help develop these great ideas, great technologies, and in the future, that is how the world is going to be. That is how the world is going to be. It's changing very fast. And he was telling me, what used to happen in 5 years now happens in 5 months. The technology changes, the way things are progressing, and you blink and you miss it. That is how it is now in the field of technology. You just don't know what's coming next. Everything is getting obsolete. Whatever we knew is no more relevant. The world is changing so fast. So as a university, while we study the Vedas and still sing the Carnatic as well as Hindustani, we will also learn artificial intelligence, and next year a course on AI/ML is coming. It's a certification for school children. They can apply for a certification course. For graduates, there's going to be postgraduate diploma in artificial intelligence, and probably a year down the line there will be a full-fledged science program in artificial intelligence, machine learning, a 4-year program. So that is something that is need of the hour. It is not something that I wake up and get an itch and start off a program. No, it is something that is need of the hour, and it has to be done because we cannot be irrelevant to the modern times. We have to reinvent ourselves as a university. So naturally we are going that way. So that is something that is happening. I'm glad about that as well. And we also have some of our friends and colleagues from another wonderful enterprise called Rural Shores. Many of you know it. It has a distant American cousin called People Shores that you know very much about. But the Indian version of it is called Rural Shores. It's a company that was incubated by Bhagwan in 2008, which was to actually provide jobs to the rural people in India. Imagine, much ahead of its time, when BPO services were just picking up in the country. He said, why don't you look at something that will give jobs to people in their own hometowns, in their tier 2 cities and things like that? Why should they all migrate to the urban jungle? Why shouldn't they stay back and do what is needed? And that is how this started. And then to now, 17 years, they told me the 15th center is coming up right outside our ashram gates. The building is getting ready. In July, it will open. It will have agentic AI as its offering for the business services. So look at Satya Sai Grama. Grama means a village. It doesn't look like village from any angle now. All street smart, urban, but the heart of it is still the village's heart. The heart to give, to share, to empathize, to be compassionate. That is the heart of India. That is the heart of Indian village. That still remains. So I was telling Rural Shores people, your job is not just to provide jobs to people in the rural side of India, which is where most of the population lives. But I told, with our mission, we will work together. You create the economic prospects and we will create the social change alongside. So next year, another course is coming up, which is called Rural Engineering. And our engineering people are all putting their heads together. We don't have an engineering course, but it is called Rural Engineering because it is kind of a mix of civil, electrical, electronics, whatever you call it, all that which is required to run a rural setup. In a village, you need infrastructure, you need water management, energy management, sanitation, you need all kinds of healthcare management, you need agro-based technologies. All that put together is that course. Very interesting course. Probably if I was not doing Vedic studies and Nada, I would go to rural engineering. No, I'm not selling the course. It is really good. And you must, some of you have the heart, but the only condition is you'll all be posted in rural India. So be ready for such a posting, at least 4 years posting in every such village till you transform it. I was in the board meeting of the university, I was telling our Narsimha ji, you know, in 2007, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba gave a discourse in public. And the discourse he told, we have to start a rural development program. He used to call it integrated village development program, and he wanted 60,000 villages to be adopted in the country, which have and to be transformed in 3 years time, and his devotees are to be catalysts who will go there, start the program, run it for 3 years, and then move on to the next village after having set up the whole system and handed it over to the local champions. He gave a very clear discourse. A book was also produced about it. I got very excited about it. I thought, what a wonderful idea. Hopefully it will happen. But one day he told me that so many of my ideas have been materialized, many projects have happened. This one project of rural development didn't take off, he told me. That is somewhere in my heart, that pain is there, that nobody took up this project, nobody, really seriously took this up. Maybe in small or big measures, something has been done, but not the way he envisaged it. In 3 years' time, take the rural temple as the center of the village, develop everything around it. Let the spiritual core be intact. Around that, develop the social infrastructure, develop the culture, develop hygiene, develop good habits like drinking and smoking. All these habits have to be given up. Gambling has to be given up. And somebody should go there, live for 3 years, he said, in the village. And at the end of the 3 years, should have transformed the village, handed over the charge to somebody who is local, and then moved on to the next village and started transforming that. And like that, 60,000 village, he told then. In India, we have 600,000 villages. But this was the idea. So I reminded our board that this was the idea, but why it did not take off? One, of course, there has to be great intention to do it. It can't be one-time medical camp or some animal camp or something like that. It has to be a consistent 3 years effort. Now, how many of us are willing to shift to a village setup and dedicate 3 years to do that? Even if we go on weekends, continuously 3 years, how many of us are willing to do? Nobody could do that. That's why it didn't take off. But now, if we produce these kind of rural engineers from our own institutions, they will be not only trained in rural technologies, they also will be trained in Veda, Nada, Bhajan, and everything else. So they are the ones who will transform this, and anybody and everybody who has little inclination towards rural development, who have a passion and heart for it, please think about it. Think about it. Because it's a very, very important thing, and that is under curation. And hopefully by June, July, we would be able to offer that course. And it's open to both boys and girls. So both can apply for that course and become that. But the idea is that after 3 years, 4th year, you will be posted in some rural means around our campuses. But 5th year to whatever your bond period or whatever period of service is there, you will be posted in any village. Think about it. It could be Nagaland, it could be Andaman Nicobar. Whatever, we'll do a cheat system, whatever comes out, your fate. But the idea is that you should be willing to go and learn the local language, learn the local tradition, stay put for 3 years and transform that entire space or whatever number of villages are under you, the cluster of them, and then only your engineering completes. So those who are willing to take up that challenge, more than welcome, please take it up. It's a very interesting course. As I said, first 1 or 2 years will be all in basic engineering, which you learn in any engineering college. But after that, the practicals start. You start living close to a village. First step, down the campuses and nearby villages. Next step, all together an independent project somewhere. As a trust, we will support you, but you also will learn how to support the initiative by talking to governments, applying for schemes, talking to CSR people, getting the village adopted by somebody. So that is how it's going to be. So these are 2 courses I'm very excited about, the course in AI/ML and the course in rural engineering. I also was very happy to visit 2 of the hostels. I think 2 best days of my life in the last 1 month were the visit to the girls' hostel and the visit to Kolar for agriculture campus. I was truly delighted. It touched my heart, not merely by the quality and the creativity of the presentations, but simply the sincerity in it and the devotion in it. They were so sincere. They were honest about what they were saying, what they were thinking. And some of the ideas that I've taught in the last 100 days of 100-day festival, they picked it up like that. And they do a skit. In the skit, it's a scene from our OPD in our hospital, cardiovascular surgery OPD. And there is this doctor, and it's a busy, crowded place, and everybody is like struggling. And then what happens? There is a nurse who has worked all night. Next morning, she's told you have to report again because your replacement is sick or something, so she can't come. You have to continue your duty. Imagine the whole night duty, and she gets naturally flustered by the demands of the patients, the crowded OPDs, and continuous nagging by everybody, and then scolding from the doctor also for not managing the crowd properly. So this nurse is overwhelmed. This is the scene. And then she says, what should I do? How do I handle this? This is by far the worst day of my life. And then she remembers, no, Swami told us 1 minute meditation. Let me sit down. And she sits down on a chair in the skit and closes her eyes, says, who am I? Am I this body which has not slept, not eaten, tired and hungry? Am I the mind which is anxious and angry and frustrated and, sad? Or I am the spirit that is ever free from all these bindings. So she asks these questions, and from one Ashtavakra shloka, she remembers, na kartasi na bhoktasi mukta yavasi sarvada, and she immediately gets up from the chair, refreshed, renewed with a new energy to start her work again. I was so touched because this is going to help you in your life. Scriptures are not theory. This 1 minute meditation and a shloka pops up in your mind from somewhere that you have heard or read. That becomes your source of strength in that time of crisis, and you can do better. Similarly, the surgeon who is presented with a very complicated cardiovascular case of a child. The child has been rejected by all the hospitals, one, because it is very complicated, two, because the mother cannot afford it. The mother comes begging, please save my child. And this doctor girl, a surgeon, she picks up, but the other surgeons say, this is a very complicated case. By very good chance that the child is going to die. Why do you want to take it up? If everything goes right, fine. But if something goes wrong, you will be blamed. Now she has to choose. Beyond blame and praise, she has to rise and take the risk of saving the child or letting the child die. And then she doesn't know what to do. She takes a moment to pray. And what is the prayer? Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin is what pops in her head from Bhagavad Gita. Or she picks up a book and reads, and in the book this particular shloka comes. Just be an instrument of mine. I shall do the rest. And she says, I have got my answer. I am going back to this surgery. I will do the surgery. She calls her colleagues. They get on to the surgery. Of course, the surgery is successful and all that. But the idea was that, see, these are not imaginations. These are not theories. These are daily things that are happening. Because there was another doctor from Raipur, Dr. Pandey was here. She said, this is what happens to us. We get stuck. We wait. We have cut open the chest. We have just not finished this surgery. The heart was stopped. It was on heart-lung machine. Now everything is done. You are stopping the heart-lung machine and starting the heart. And you never know it will start. And those first few seconds, when you're waiting for that, ECG to show a signal, they are the most difficult moments of a surgeon's life. And while they may do 10 surgeries, every surgery is equally, call it a moment of truth. And then 1, 2, 3 seconds, and mind already starts running this way, that way. Oh, Swami, you didn't help me to save the child. Starting with negativity. To suddenly the monitor beeps and you have a signal, and then you say, no, Swami, you helped me again. So, the fluctuations of mind. They really talked about it. And I said, how nice that these children have picked up these things while even they're doing MBBS. Once they finish, this will be their daily life. Daily battles. Daily wars. And you have to fight your own battle. And you have to win it. And how can you do it? Loka sangraha mevapi. For the sake of welfare of all, let me do my part. I don't have any other desire. Look at how practical these scriptures are. How can you not appreciate what is being taught? When we started medical students, we put them on the Bhagavad Gita. Half of them swooned saying that, what is this? Why should we study? We have enough to study. As such, we have enough syllabus. But then now they realize how important it is. And one shloka, can come to your rescue in the most difficult times of your life. And my favorite shloka from Ashtavakra Gita, because I have to deal with so many fluctuations, all ECG signals. What is my favorite shloka from Ashtavakra Gita? Any guess? Oh, everybody knows. Mai ananta mahambodhau jagadvichi svabhavataha udaitu astumayatu name vruddhihi nachakshatihi. This shloka has carried me through some of the toughest times in this mission. This shloka, that I am the great ocean, Mai ananta maham, infinite ocean. And what is the world? Vichi svabhavataha is the waves. The good and bad of the world are the waves in the great big ocean of infinity that I truly am. My spirit truly is. And what is said? Udaitva astumayatu. One day it rises, one day it falls. Name vruddhi nachakshati. I do not grow, nor I diminish by rising and falling of waves. I am the ocean which remains the same. What a wonderful idea. This one idea actually great source of my strength during testing times, especially the COVID times. So I really know what is the power of these scriptures, why this should be the anchor, the foundation on which we build our careers. It's not irrelevant, it is not useless, it is not wasteful to study this. These are very practical. And I'm sure when some point in time you'll face with real crisis, you'll understand what we are talking. So this is very unique university, a unique education system, and unique proposition of how one should teach and learn, whether it's MBBS, nursing, or whether it is a regular science or humanities or anything else tomorrow. And this is a great classroom of this world that we are all sitting and learning. What a wonderful opportunity. So what all is happening, sometimes I do not have a count of it. And one more thing last I would tell is I went to meet the students of our agricultural course that we started 2 years ago. I think there are some 30 plus students are there and 2 batches, and they were all doing their practicals in Kolar. You know Kolar, there is one campus there. I went there because I just wanted to see what they are up to. But they are learning these skills and implementing it in the soil. And when I went there, they brought whatever they had grown, from groundnuts to horse gram, and they wanted me to eat all that, at least taste. And I said, so I used to take the gram part of it, the thing, and fruit part of it, and I was eating. They said, no, you should eat the remaining also. And I ate, it was very bitter. I said, it's very bitter. Bitter means it is nutritious, they said. You must eat the whole thing. I said, no, I am not a cow. I can't eat this. I'll eat the groundnuts. I'll leave the shoots to you. But they were so excited, and the joy is their creation. It's their baby. It's their identity. It's what they are. I felt so happy, the pride and the ownership of what they are doing. The joy in their eyes, the sparkle, the twinkle. It was so elevating for me. It was so elevating because as such I like farming and farmers, and seeing our own children picking it up. And you know what one child told me? It was so touching. Whether they can achieve this or not is immaterial. What they thought was so touching. I was sitting with all of them around me, and one of them told, Swamiji, you give us the opportunity and we will grow food in all your campuses. We'll grow what you need, and we will cut down your budget and support you with the finances. Then I asked him, do you know what does it take to feed these many people every day? And that they had done their homework. They said, yes, Swami, we went to the kitchen here in Mudenhalli, which cooks for almost 5,000 people, and went and studied everything. What is the cost of this? What is the cost of that? How much of what we use? And then we realized what looks so simple, then a plate of meal just appears in front of us at clockwise precision, takes this much of effort behind in the kitchen and so much of procurement and the cost. I said, tell me what is the cost? He told, every month you are spending 1 crore rupees to feed all of us in Mudenhalli, he said. I said, yes, that is the correct budget. How did you know? He said, I went to the accounts of the kitchen. See, he's in first year, second year agricultural diploma course, not even a degree this is. And he went that far to go study the account, the costings, and what does it take to feed these many people in Mudenhalli. And then I was very touched. He said, Swami, we are with you. We will grow. And hopefully that will bring down your costs of feeding everybody. I was so touched. I said, I have lands. All lands are yours. Do what you want with it. In every campus, grow food and give to everybody. The words were so assuring. Generally, I go on saying, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam, don't worry and all that. Here are these children telling me, don't worry. We are there and we will take care of things. And they are just agriculture students. Generally, we look down upon some of these courses. Some engineering, some IT, some MTech, looks good, MBBS. They only know what to do with their hands and the soil. And they are assuring me that you give it to us and everywhere we'll go. Put us in any campus, wherever there is land, we'll work hard, we'll grow food. You tell us what to grow, and we'll send it all back to the kitchen, and kitchen can serve everybody. And that way we'll reduce the burden of the trust. I was very touched by these two. I think these are two best evenings I had. One in the girls' hostel, where I saw so much of Satyam Shivam Sundaram, like beauty and talent and purity in their intentions. And I hope they stay on this path. They don't deviate after some time, because mind is very, very unpredictable. It's very dicey. It's very tricky. So stick on to your convictions and hold on to them. Don't deviate even in the future. And the second thing, when I met these small young boys of agricultural department, and whatever they could do, there's so much of joy. They're showing me how a whole organic farm would be looking like, from apiculture to organic farming to your Jivamrita to your Gonanda Jala to everything, solar farms, so that you have your own energy. Everything, the seed bank, the Goshala, they had made models of it. I was very touched. I said, imagine if all these children, the agricultural students, the rural engineering people, the teachers, the doctors, the nurses, they join me, whole rural India can be transformed. I'm sure it may not be in 5 years, 10 years, maybe in 50 years. But with all of them together, and now rural shows, as I mentioned, it all started because all of us together can actually create a greater, a better, a beautiful rural India, which is where all the need is. So I was just wanting to share how beautiful these experiences have been for me in the last 2 days, and I was very touched and very, very, felt assured that if these students really do what they are saying, then there is great hope, there is great future for everybody. So with these words, again congratulating all the prize winners from the university, the students and staff, the GLA award team, which has worked very hard and brought out such a beautiful book. I think this will be the first business related book which is based on Indian ethos of leadership. The ideas are from Indian scriptures, and then the AIML team, the team of all the rural shows people who are here, to all of them and everybody else who is watching, everybody, lot of blessings. I'll see you again.